Welcome back. Have you ever noticed how the hardest working people you know are often the ones who struggle the most financially? While a select few seem to float through life making wealth look completely effortless. We are taught from day one that the path to security is built on trading your time for a paycheck, putting your head down and outworking everyone else in the room. But if hard work alone was the secret to wealth, every single person pulling a 12-hour shift would be a millionaire by now. The reality we rarely talk about is that the economic world operates on an entirely different frequency. A hidden blueprint that has less to do with sweat and more to do with the fundamental machinery of human nature. If you can hear my voice and you are ready to stop chasing the system and start understanding it, do me a quick favor right now. Leave a number 1 in the comments below if you are truly ready to shift your perspective and look at the hidden game being played all around us. To understand how real prosperity is built, we have to look past the superficial advice and face a heavy, undeniable truth about the marketplace. Every single thriving industry on the planet is built on a foundation of human desire, human flaws, and human habits. Think about the digital landscape we immerse ourselves in every single day. The financial platforms feed on our deepest desire for immediate security and growth. The global food and beverage giants cater directly to our cravings for comfort and convenience. The online shopping networks thrive on our pursuit of absolute ease, removing every single friction point between a sudden whim and a delivery at our doorstep. Even the entertainment and gaming industries are perfectly calibrated to give us a safe harbor to release the day's stress, frustration, and unspoken anxieties. True commercial genius isn't about creating something completely disconnected from the human experience. It is about recognizing these deeply ingrained natural tendencies and building a seamless bridge to meet them. The moment you realize this, the entire digital environment around you starts to look very different. Every time you open your phone and find yourself scrolling through an endless feed of beautifully tailored content. Whether it is high-end lifestyle inspiration, professional growth strategies, or personal passions, it isn't a random coincidence. It is a carefully engineered echo chamber designed by people who understand the exact mechanics of human attention. The system simply observes what you naturally gravitate toward and gives you more of it, gently anchoring your focus and filling your quiet moments. This creates a massive divide in modern society. For those who remain unaware, the system becomes a passive trap that consumes their time and resources. But for those who awaken to the dynamic, it becomes the ultimate playbook. You quickly realize that society is divided into those who passively participate in the game and those who intentionally architect it. Think about the classic mistake so many people make when they try to step out on their own. They see a bustling, popular local business and immediately think about how they can duplicate that exact model. They think about the physical storefront, the equipment, the staff, and the long hours. But the real visionary isn't looking at how to stand behind the counter. They are looking at how to build the infrastructure that serves the counter. They look at the entire landscape like a massive arena. In any high-stakes arena, you have the players down on the field taking all the physical risks. You have the management organizing the local venue, and then you have the entity that owns the entire league. Most people spend their entire lives as players, risking their own hard-earned savings, taking out heavy loans, and assuming all the liability just to get a foot in the door. If the venture faces an unexpected storm, they are the ones left carrying the heavy burden of debt. But there is a much higher level of strategy that changes everything. True financial mastery comes from shifting your position from a participant to an orchestrator. Look at the most massive disruptions in modern business history. The world's largest hospitality platform doesn't actually own physical real estate. They built an elegant digital network that connects people who have space with people who need it. The major digital marketplaces don't hold massive inventories of their own goods. They created the standard highway that every independent seller has to drive on just to reach the consumer. These organizations don't tie themselves down with the crushing weight of utility bills, heavy property management, and overwhelming overhead. They recognize that the most stable, lucrative position in any economic shift is to be the provider of the platform itself. They aren't digging for the gold. They are supplying the heavy machinery to the entire valley. When you apply this concept to a regular enterprise, the potential for scale completely transforms. Imagine someone who makes an incredible artisanal product or runs a beautiful boutique service. If they focus entirely on selling that single product unit by unit, their growth is forever capped by the number of hours in a day and the physical limits of their energy. To make a meaningful impact, they would have to execute that process millions of times over a lifetime, which is an exhausting uphill battle. But what happens if they look at their business through a completely different lens? Instead of focusing on selling the individual item, they focus on standardizing the entire blueprint of their success. They map out the exact process, the client experience, the operational rhythm, and the branding. Then, they empower other aspiring professionals to utilize that proven system through a structured partnership or licensing model. Suddenly, they aren't managing a single location. They are fueling a nationwide network. They generate stable, recurring revenue from providing the training, the essential supplies, and the foundational framework, while independent partners handle the localized operations. This is how you transition from working inside a business to truly owning a scalable asset. But let us pause for a moment and look at the deeper psychological current that makes this scale possible. Why is it that some brands never have to rely on aggressive sales tactics or pushy outreach, while the average professional spends their days frantically chasing down clients just to get an email back? It is because human beings naturally resist being convinced, but we are absolutely powerless against genuine attraction. Think about the premier global technology brands. You never see an aggressive sales representative knocking on your door, trying to convince you to upgrade your personal devices. Instead, they spend decades crafting an undeniable narrative of innovation, premium quality, and lifestyle alignment. They don't just sell a piece of hardware, they invite you into an elevated standard of living. They introduce their advancements through intentional, highly anticipated narratives that capture global attention. By building a pristine ecosystem and an exceptional customer experience, they create a natural pull. Millions of people willingly seek them out, standing in lines and adjusting their personal budgets. Not because they were pushed, but because they desperately want to be part of that narrative. When a brand masters this dynamic, a fascinating social phenomenon takes place. The early adopters choose the product because they deeply understand the value and want to be on the cutting edge. But as that momentum builds, the wider public begins to follow simply because they see a thriving community moving in that direction. It is a fundamental part of human behavior to look around for social proof when navigating our choices. When we see a crowd gathering, a waitlist growing, or a movement forming, our brain automatically signals that there is something invaluable on the other side of that door. Outstanding marketing builds a clear bridge between that collective desire and the physical product, making the decision to join and feel completely effortless and deeply rewarding. But let us look past the strategies and the corporate case studies for a minute and talk honestly about what it actually feels like to carry the weight of life as you move through your 40s and beyond. To anyone listening who has reached this major milestone in life, you know exactly what I am talking about. You have spent decades playing by the traditional rules. You went to school, you climbed the ladders. You took care of the families, and you navigated the unexpected restructurings and economic shifts. You have survived the long nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if the plans you have built are sturdy enough to support everyone depending on you. And yet, there is a very specific, heavy quiet that hits you at this stage of life, when you realize that you are the ultimate anchor for your entire world. When the noise of the day fades and the household goes quiet, you are left alone with the absolute weight of your choices. Every single person in your life, your kids, your aging parents, your team, your partners looks to you for unshakable strength and immediate answers. They see your confidence, your resilience, and your outward stability. But they rarely see the immense emotional energy it takes to be the person who always figures it out. Day after day, without ever showing a single crack in the shield, you are constantly protecting, constantly giving, and constantly holding the line for everyone else. It is precisely here, in this profound space of personal responsibility, that the real awakening to human dynamics becomes your greatest superpower, to sustain this level of care without burning out, and to ensure that your energy is deeply respected. You have to master the art of setting healthy boundaries and maintaining your personal mystique. There is an old, undeniable truth that complete familiarity often erodes professional respect. When you make yourself entirely predictable, when you overshare every single fleeting doubt, hesitation, or momentary anxiety with everyone around you, your inner authority slowly begins to wear away. If the world can see completely through you, they stop looking up to you as a steady guide. The most impactful, grounded individuals in history and modern culture understand the immense power of intentional distance. They do not over-communicate or constantly seek desperate validation from the crowd. Instead, they preserve a deliberate psychological and personal space that commands quiet respect. They keep their next moves, their deepest strategies, and their inner thoughts close to the chest when they do choose to speak. Their words carry massive weight because they are rare, well-considered, and deeply purposeful. By keeping a professional, healthy distance from the daily chaos, you are not being cold, and you certainly are not being uncaring. You are doing something far more important. You are protecting the absolute integrity of your own mind. You are ensuring that your major life decisions are made with clean, clear objectivity, completely untangled from peer pressure, office politics, or the emotional storms of the moment. The people you love and the teams you guide do not need you to be caught in the trenches of their daily anxieties. They need you to be a rock. They need you to be that steady, calm, slightly detached force that can see the distant horizon clearly, even when everyone else is completely blind to the storm. When you fully understand this larger picture of human mastery, you realize that real wealth and progression are about shifting your entire perspective on how value is created. True financial growth comes from focusing your energy on solving real, meaningful problems for other people. The old way of thinking tells you to chase money directly, but money is nothing more than a natural byproduct of a problem solved. When you dedicate your mind to lifting the burdens of others, creating elegant systems, and contributing genuine value first, long-term security flows back to you naturally. It requires a complete shift from a short-term scarcity mindset to a patient, value-first approach to life. You stop trying to win by risking everything on a single, massive gamble, and you start focusing on low-cost, high-intelligence exploration. You leverage your insights, your unique knowledge, and the power of digital media to share ideas that elevate your entire community. You stop blindly copying the heavy, outdated frameworks of massive corporations that carry structural resources you don't need, and you embrace a lean, agile approach to life and work. You study the best practices around you, optimize them, keep your overhead beautifully low, and focus on delivering an unmatched standard of excellence. When you align your life with these deeper psychological laws, balancing your immense personal power with absolute fairness, creating environments of shared prosperity, communicating with natural attraction, and protecting the quiet, dignified mystery of your own personal boundaries, you completely step out of the frantic survival cycle of the masses. You transform into a truly awakened individual. You create an existence that is deeply resilient, an inner circle that is fiercely loyal, and a personal legacy that stands completely unbroken through the test of time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this perspective resonated with you, and you are ready to keep exploring the deep dynamics of human nature and modern life, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an episode. Stay steady, protect your peace, and I will see you next time.